Hey, welcome to Film Fanatics. My name is Dan.
My name is Justin.
And I'm Joe.
This week, it's our first official show of 2017. We're going to focus on some awards hopefuls that got a wide release on Christmas, Fences and La La Land, and one big final release of last year, Assassin's Creed. So first up is Fences, and this is based on the August Wilson stage play and features Denzel Washington and Viola Davis repeating their Tony Award-winning roles as Troy and Rose Maxon, and Denzel directs here as well. The story takes place mainly in 1950s Pittsburgh in a poor African-American community and largely takes place physically in and around the Maxon household, including in the backyard where Troy is forever building a wooden fence. The struggles of the Maxon family include money problems, issues raising their son, Troy's mentally handicapped brother, and infidelity. Like most Oscar hopefuls, you've got, Manchester by the Sea and Moonlight. Fences is not an easy watch. At times, it's a little amusing, perhaps, but is largely hardship and intense drama. And speaking of Moonlight, between this and that film, the Oscars really should have a pretty easy time reversing their Oscars so white slam from the past couple of years. Yeah. Washington, definitely on my short list for Best Actor. I mean, this is easily one of the best performances of the year. And I think he gives his character more depth in, one or two line reads than most actors would do with this character over scenes and scenes. He obviously knows the character well from doing the stage show. I'm not sure how long they did it, but, they both won Tonys in 2010 for it, so it's been in their wheelhouse for a long time. And then you've got Davis, confirming my view dating back to when I first saw her one scene in the movie Doubt, that she is perhaps the greatest actress working today. I thought this was a slam dunk performance. I have not seen a female performance stronger in 2016 than Davis's, hands down. The directing is safe. The first couple scenes really act as a stage play until Washington allows himself to use the space a little bit more. I do think it might be a little long, but plays typically are over that 2-hour line, so I can see why they would want to sort of keep what August Wilson wrote pretty much intact. I thought this was just a great movie, one of my favorites of the year. Justin, what'd you think?
Well, I confess that I honestly did want to try and watch one of Washington's other directorial efforts. Antoine Fisher, I know Joe really likes.
It's true.
The Great Debaters I never saw.
Yeah, I saw it. Or did I see The Great Debaters? I saw one of them when we did the Washington Top 5. Debaters? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
All right.
Wanted to, just never got around to it. But honestly, if this is his typical style, he needs to do it so much more. I think he's got a very good sense of what needs to come out, and more importantly, how to do it. And I think you're absolutely right, Danny. He's got a very good sense of who this character is, flaws, of which there are many, and how to bring that to life in a brutally honest fashion.
Yeah.
The movie's heavy. Which is a blessing and a curse. We'll get to that shortly, but I really do appreciate the honesty and the down-to-earth nature of this. I think half the curiosity that Washington pulls together with this one is where he chooses to place everything. Sometimes making it more intimate, sometimes making it more open. I actually really enjoyed the opening tracking shot of simply him and his buddy on the back of a trash compactor.
I'll admit I was a bit late. I think I missed the first minute or two, so I didn't see that portion, okay. But I walked in while they were having the first discussion, and it was very, to me, like, you talk, cameras on you, you talk, cameras on you.
To be fair, the first minute's like black. It's just audio. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But for me, where Fences sort of hits the wall a little bit is, I think what works on stage and what works on screen is not an easy balance with this one. There are some things that stretch on for way too long. I think sometimes the way things are broken up gets a little bit tedious, bordering on repetitive at times. And while I do appreciate the performances, I also think that some things are dragged out far longer than they ever needed to. Along with the aspect of there's literally no room for subtlety in this movie. Washington will literally have moments where he's explaining his own subtext to you. Gee, see how the fence is symbolic? Thank you, Denzel Washington. There's no possible way I would have been able to figure this out.
All right, well, he didn't write the movie.
Or the play, rather.
Or the play.
No, but he should have been able to figure out, like, okay, this might work as a stage motif. It won't work. It won't work on film.
The symbolism's still there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it translates better one way or the other in that particular instance. I mean, I think the stage audience is probably also saying, like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Well, they tell you. They don't even, like... They literally...
Yeah.
Right, they tell you what it means.
Yes.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Do you get
like,
it, Justin?
Oh, yes. I get it.
Full on
Symbolism. Which I won't ruin for you listeners, but it gets a little pretentious.
Pretty obvious from the name of the movie. I mean,
Yes.
fences.
What is a fence for?
Why is he
metaphors.
building fences?
Yeah, many metaphors.
Yes. But it is a very good movie. It's a very brutally honest movie. It's a very real movie. I'm not sure if it'll be up for Best Picture, but acting nominations I think are completely and utterly warranted.
I think it will be up for Best Picture. Joe, what'd you think?
Well, big upset. I hated it.
Oh.
I don't believe that for a second.
What? Come on. Maybe I despised it.
No.
No, it was very good. I think you guys made some excellent points. I think that, Denzel Washington definitely is a great director. He doesn't do it that much, though. I remember Antoine Fisher was, I believe, his first one.
Yep.
Which I saw years
like
ago.
every 10 years he does it or something.
But he usually pulls out really good stuff, and I think I like the story of Antoine Fisher a little better than this one, just because it's a little more fleshed out, and oddly enough, it's focused just on one person primarily.
Okay.
But this is very similar in that, in the sense that they have this major focus on this one guy and everybody else around him. And I think you're right, Justin. It's a very real movie. And I know that I often say I like those films that really like to focus on the human element and really show it, but few films do it quite this well, where you're really presented with actual people that are deeply flawed, but they're not flawed because they're flawed characters. They're flawed just because they're people, and that's the way it is. And you can have these characters in these situations, and it's not crystal clear about the black and white and the various shades of gray, and it just seems like something that actually happens. It actually was based closely on something that did happen, and it's very familiar and understandable, and that's why it's difficult material that is very heavy. So it's definitely not light entertainment, but you guys are right. I think the acting is just incredible here. I think Denzel is the top of his form. Viola Davis is also really good as well. I do wish that there was a little more time spent with some of the other characters, but I feel like there's enough learned through their subtle moments that it carries a lot of weight. And there is a lot that is done with very little, like you said, like one line or one motion or just kind of a brief exchange could just...
It really speaks volumes.
It says
the
so.
way it's delivered in this movie.
It says so much, and you might be drawing some conclusions, but then you kind of see as the movie goes on, like, wow, okay, this is an asset. He's not just a caricature. He's just not this way. There's many facets to him, as there would be facets to a person. So in that sense, it conveys that really well. The only thing I thought was really weird was, I mean, I could tell almost instantly this was based on a play, which I didn't know going on. I'm like, wait a minute. person coming in. I'm like, this is based on a play, isn't it? Yeah, and of course, in that at the credits there, that came on. Like, okay, it's pretty obvious, which I didn't mind. I kind of liked the repetition throughout it, and I kind of liked that they were going by week, and it comes around each Friday. Like, okay, so everybody's going to meet up, and stuff's going to happen. I was fine with that. The weird thing is, some of the time isn't very good. Like, they will cut to something else, like 6 months have passed. Really? Like, I mean, they say it, and it's a little bit jarring. That happens a couple of times. So that some of the pacing wasn't very good there. I kind of wish they had kept it a little more focused on that repetition. But other than that, I thought it was very good.
I do agree that there are certain characters I would have liked to see more. I really, really was intrigued specifically by the older adult son.
Yeah.
But, he wasn't really a fixture in this guy's life.
No.
So I think those 2 or 3 scenes we get with him...
They say a lot.
They say a lot in just those scenes. But I did like the character, and same with the neighbor. I mean, I think we like the neighbor / best friend character a lot. And he's there, as often as he would be in real life. I agree. I definitely know what you're saying, that some of these characters aren't interesting enough that you do kind of want to see more of them. But I was okay with the way they were sort of fleshed out as they were.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was bad. I just, sometimes maybe a little more might have been nice.
I was going to say, the absences for the most part are justified.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a major thing. It could have probably been fleshed out a couple of different ways and still been fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, it's one of my favorites of the year. It's an A+. Justin?
B+.
It's an A.
All right. Very good. So up next is La La Land. Joe's going to catch this one on the flip side before we do our Oscar wrap-up here. But, Justin, let's hear about La La Land.
So in this one, we have Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone as Sebastian and Mia, a jazz pianist and an aspiring actress with the hopes of living out their dreams in Los Angeles. While the two don't quite hit it off at first, sparks eventually, and I might be so bold to add gloriously, fly between them as they struggle for their own definitions of success. Oh. John Legend and Whiplash fave J.K. Simmons have supporting roles. Film narrative is a really, really tricky thing. There's a whole aspect of cause and effect. Is it linear? Is it non-linear? Is there order in the way it's structured, or is it complete and utter chaos? And honestly, in the right hands, either one can really work truly, truly well. But musicals are a whole different ballgame, and I think it really does show off just how promising Damien Chazelle for his third directorial effort is coming together.
What was the first one? Because I know Whiplash, obviously.
It was a student film. I forget the name offhand. Right. But really, he was the right hands for this. Trying to throw together a bunch of different, throwing in what's classical, what's contemporary, and really managing to hit the best of both. And I think with musicals, they often are complete chaos. But there is a structure in terms of selection, in terms of timing, in terms of effort from the leads. And here you really have it firing off on every cylinder. And it really has a brilliant balance. Easy criticism to make with this one is Gosling and Stone aren't the best singers. And it's fair, they're not. But alongside that, they also managed to give off incredible amounts of emotion, really hitting home a strangely poignant amount of optimism in a truly, truly pessimistic world, and mentioning some of the young idealisms that come into being a dreamer, trying to go out and find success. And what does that mean? Can you have your cake and eat it too, so to speak? But really, you've got great cinematography, some really just incredible songs, and truly compelling storytelling that's honest, hopeful, and heartbreaking all at the same time. It's one of the few movies I can say this year that's pretty much the full package.
And one of your most anticipated from last year's list.
Wise choice on my part.
The final one.
Second to last.
What else is there?
A Monster Calls.
I did hear that was pretty good. Looked pretty good.
No, it looks good. I just, come on. Pick a movie that comes out the right year.
Hey, it was supposed to come out in October. Not my fault. But
all right, well, at least you didn't pick the space between us.
Alas, no.
Three different times.
Yikes.
All right, well, yeah, Gosling is not up to par vocally. But I think he more than makes up for it with the passionate performance. You don't have a Russell Crowe situation here.
Oh, no.
Where it's so cringeworthy and he's shouting the lines at you. If anything, Gosling's vocal performance is reined in because especially that main song he sings is very somber.
Yes.
And so, he sort of has that sort of bassy, like, okay, well, it might not be on key, but there's passion behind it.
Definitely.
Not just yelling. And Stone, I thought, was fine. I mean, is she singing wise as Anna Kendrick? No, she's not. But, again, it didn't really bother me. Like, the songs that they gave these people to sing were not, I'm telling you I'm not going from Dreamgirls.
Right.
They're more of the Anna Kendrick Troll song where she's not going to give up. It's
Fair
more
enough.
of, it's less stressful on a vocal cord, I think, these songs. And that's why I think the casting is appropriate.
I agree.
Even though you're right, that could be a criticism. But it honestly isn't one of mine. But I do think it's funny that people are sort of calling this a feel-good movie. I remember reading in Entertainment Weekly when they picked this for their number one of the year. Oh, well, we really needed a feel-good movie, this year, and this hit the spot. I mean, it's not like Fences or Manchester dark, but it's pretty depressing in a lot of aspects.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe it's sort of colorful enough and sort of under the guise of being a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
But it's, I would say, kind of not. But it's certainly got the classic flavor right. There's a great chemistry between the two leads. The music is fantastic. The nod to that famous Hollywood musical era is great. No, I really, really enjoyed this. I can't think of too many negative things to say, other than I would agree with a person that said these people are not the top of the top singing talents. But to me, it didn't affect my experience at all.
Nor I.
Just the way it was portrayed.
Oh yeah, and I think they really are putting a solid effort forth. I mean, they're not. I mean, he's a musician, she's an actress. They're not supposed to be these like incredibly talented singers. So I think as a whole, it works in that regard.
Well, I mean, for musicals, I don't think that ever really came into play. I mean, Mamma Mia, they're not all famous singers.
No.
Well, Pierce Brosnan sucks, but everybody else was good in that movie.
That happens.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
I don't think in a musical it necessarily matters. You could be the singing dentist in Little Shop of Horrors, as well as you could be,
Touché.
whatever else.
That's a fair point.
Now, yes, in some of the most famous ones, they are stage performers. I mentioned Dreamgirls, of course, but you've got, some of the Judy Garland classics where she is sort of a stage singer or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, I think if the audience allows themselves to get wrapped up in the feeling of the movie, I don't think it makes as much of a difference as it would if it was not done as well.
And I agree. I mean, it sets the tone brilliantly with its opening number.
Yeah, I think, which neither of them are really a part of.
Not especially,
which I loved. I mean, I thought the cinematography was great for that. You mentioned that. I thought there were some great, aerial shots in that performance. The choreography in this movie
insane.
It's maybe the best choreography I've seen since Chicago. I mean, it's
definitely up there.
It's really, really, got it. So yeah, I mean, it's another A+ for me.
Same here.
Yeah, I figured. So Joe, you'll have to get on that before we do the Oscar wrap up.
Maybe.
My guess is that this will win Best Picture.
Really?
It's just got everything the Academy always just loses it over. Classic Hollywood feel. It's about actors and musicians. It takes place in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Look at the last 4 or 5. I mean, Spotlight, maybe not, but it was still about journalism.
Topical.
But you've got Argo, you've got The Artist.
Naturally, yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire, I think, is the last one that really kind of broke out of that
Left
mold.
field, yeah.
But even still, it's about a TV show, kind of. So,
that classic film. I was gotta say,
Shakespeare in Love.
It's about theater,
acting. It's about theater and acting.
Stage productions,
right? So
entertainment.
After seeing, I think now pretty much all of the front runners for Best Picture. I mean, we'll see if movies like Jackie make the cut. Maybe Loving will make the cut. But I think we've seen the bulk of the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
Knowing the Academy, I don't know how this can lose. For Best Picture. That's a conversation probably for another day.
No. For me, it's not so much a matter of would it win. It's more or less of would it incur the wrath of Oscars So White Part 2.
No, because Denzel's going to win and Viola Davis is going to win.
Like director and actress.
for actor and actress. So, no, I don't think so. All right, so Joe, we get to hear from you now, not about La La Land.
Somehow
but about
I don't feel like this is going to be an A+.
The other awards bait movie starring many Oscar winners and nominees.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
No, I had the choice to see La La Land, but they told me to lead this because I like Assassin's
Video games, yeah.
I mean, I played the first game.
Yeah, I never played a second of this.
A little bit of the second one. The Animus isn't really like that.
Not quite, no.
Oh, God. The big spoilers, in the trailers, they have the Animus as this arm that comes down and interacts what he's supposedly doing. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. All right.
Just synopsize the movie, Joe.
Basically, Assassin's Creed. If you play, it's based on the game franchise where essentially Michael Fassbender plays the main character who's chosen by this mysterious agency to go into this virtual reality that is tailored to his family's DNA so he can relive the actions of his ancestor who was an assassin to seek out the apple, which is this mysterious thing supposedly given by God which can change freedom of thought and freedom of will, and possibly the guys that are having him do this in their big lab might be evil. Maybe.
Don't know what you mean there.
Maybe. That's the movie basically, and you got to figure out what's going on. And you've got some other people there. Fassbender's the main character. You've got Marion Cotillard is here as the doctor. Mm-hmm. You've got Jeremy Irons as bad guy. And even,
doing bad guy things.
And even you've got I forget his name, but you've got the guy from The Wire and
Omar
and Boardwalk Empire. Omar, you got him in there, and you even got for no reason
Brendan Gleeson.
They even got Brendan Gleeson.
That's true.
Hashtag
couple of scenes
Calvary
Gleeson,
even makes a scene, and it's just this. Look, I'm so mad about how to finish this year of 2016's wrap up. I mean, this is a movie that's trying so hard to not be a bad video game movie. You can tell that they're like, man, we've got the best actors in this movie. They've got these great actors who just either through flat writing or flat direction give mostly kind of flat performances. They're good actors, but you can tell they're just kind of getting through the paycheck. This is the exposition
They seem
scene.
really confused.
They're either confused or they're just not sure how to act. It's everything's very dry, robotic, so because nobody emotes, you don't feel much emotion for anyone. And the stakes in either story, either in the past or what's going on, you don't really get a sense to know anybody. They tell you everything in this story, there's so much going on, and you feel like you don't really care about anything. You don't even care about the protagonist because they don't really seem that likable either. They don't give you much time to really establish anything. So, yeah, it's one of the biggest wastes of time ever. It's just it's so incredibly boring. I don't think I've had too many movie experiences this year where I've been hoping for it to end sooner. It's ending. Please, it seems like it's ending. Okay, no, it's not.
There's been too many to count this year for this.
But just as a way to kind of end it for there. The only positives I have is that there are some good actors that are giving passable performances, and I did like some of the costume design, and it's the thing from the game when they climb up the walls, ooh, and are they gonna say leap of faith at some point? They did, but they didn't actually do a full leap of faith as it actually is in the game.
I feel like you're
now see, I come at this.
No, hold on, Dan.
Okay,
hold on before you go.
That was a lengthy pause. I thought you were done.
No.
Sorry.
But the point is, anyone that watched the movie will know, they do a couple leap of faiths, and they even mention it, of course, in the movie. But in Leap of Faith, you see the thing, they never actually show a full one. Because in Leap of Faith, you jump off the building, you go into the bale of hay, and you hide. It's a really epic stealth technique that no one ever does. He's making a leap of faith, and then they cut away. They never show the whole thing. And also, we don't get an actual white robe, which is the iconic Assassin's Creed imagery.
True.
And
I do know that.
Thank you. And that's just the one little point I want to make is, even though I feel in terms of the design for some of the costumes, the whole movie has a tint, so it looks kind of ugly and dark a lot of the time. And the action choreography, shaky cam, and not to mention any time they try to do an action sequence, instead of using actual martial arts, they will speed up the camera. For no reason, they'll speed it up. And it's chaotic. And one last good positive, I did like some of the soundtrack. Towards the end, I'm like, wow, I really like this beat. I'm going to look up the soundtrack.
Good techno,
there's some
soundtrack,
towards the end, there was some good pieces. And wow, that's elevating it. There's some moments that are kind of dramatic. Tell me how you came at it, man.
All right, well, I come at this from not having really any experience with the game. I do know the iconic logo, with the white hoods. I got that. But, I've never played a second of this game. I don't know this game from Adam. So I come at it from a little bit of a different take. And I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. Sure. It would be hard not to, I guess. It doesn't sound like it's on your positives list.
Not really.
But the one thing I cannot get over about this movie is the talent. You've got 3 A-list actors Marion Cotillard has won an Oscar. Fassbender has been nominated. Irons may have won one in his day or been nominated. I don't know. But, I don't understand what they're doing in this movie. And as the movie went on, I just kept thinking of different examples of this would be like if this person did this. And my favorite one I came up with was this would be like Maya Angelou writing for Two Broke Girls. It doesn't make any sense.
What are you doing?
What is it?
These are people at the top of their craft. We just saw Marion Cotillard in Allied, and she was so good in it.
Mm-hmm.
And why is she in this movie? Fassbender, he's been going down the tubes. I didn't think the Jobs movie was very good. So, okay, him. Irons usually does a pretty good job. But everybody, you're right, Joe, is kind of a little bit off their game here.
Mm-hmm.
Cotillard most of all, I think. But I did think some of the action sequences were okay. I do actually like that they sort of tried to differentiate themselves from your typical video game movie with the virtual reality stuff. Obviously you weren't feeling that, and that's okay.
That's the game.
Oh, that's what you do in the game?
Yeah. That's the whole point. It's the way they did it in the movie is the ways in the game where you go back in large sections of it. You go back in the past and you're assassin, but sometimes it'll cut away to the main story, which is what is going on outside of the animus.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it
is kind of the same as the game, then.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
basically.
I thought they were turning it a little bit onto your...
Like you're playing Assassin's Creed? No.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, that's kind of the thing is you are playing a really ridiculous video game simulation within the game.
Right.
But yeah, that is the game.
Okay. And then the whole eagle metaphor.
Hey, Lord of the Rings, how you doing?
That really made me angry. Every time
back.
the eagle came, I was like, oh my god.
Eagles are coming.
That is kind of a Assassin's Creed staple, though.
It is. You can spy
I
on with
understand that.
the eagle.
I was told that, and okay. But honestly, for in terms of boring video game franchise movies, I thought this was more interesting than Warcraft. I was way more bored in Warcraft. I know that's not quite the same type of game, but still, for the video game movie adaptations of the year, it's those two and Angry Birds, I guess. So
Ratchet and Clank?
All right,
actually,
Ratchet,
that wasn't too
Ratchet
bad.
and Clank.
That
yes,
wasn't
you're
too
right.
bad, actually.
So I don't know. I had a few positives, but I never would have watched this movie in a million years.
That's what I.
Unless we were doing the show. So, Justin, what'd you think?
He loved it.
All right, let's get into this. I guess I'm the most Assassin's Creed savvy for this one.
Yeah.
The series as a whole, I think, has... One of my big issues with video game movies as a whole is they're drawing from material that doesn't really warrant good movies. Assassin's Creed actually has a really good and compelling storyline, though admittedly, recently with the narrative, they kind of sort of dug themselves into a hole, but that's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm. Pirates, man. Pirates.
But honestly, there was room for this to actually be good. And I was really thinking for a while, this might actually be the first legitimately good video game movie.
It's not true.
So where does it fail?
Everywhere.
I can't quite agree with that. But
pretty much.
the first and foremost thing I do want to give it some points for is it does actually try to distance itself from the Assassin's Creed storyline. It doesn't try to paint by numbers.
It's true.
It does try to do its own thing, and even though it doesn't quite work, oftentimes the latter, I do respect the fact that they were trying to take a different direction with it.
It's true.
Alongside that, the director whose only other effort that I can think of offhand was last year's Macbeth adaptation, which was good, but very, very, very style over substance. I don't think he quite got what Assassin's Creed was. One of the things I think is great about the games is just the incredible amount of detail to the locations and of the era and what are some of the going-ons.
Absolutely. Wish I could have seen some of that in that movie.
Yeah,
it's a very pretty game. You just can wander around. Ooh, look, that's year 1500 Rome. Let's just move around here.
Okay.
It's not grim and ugly, and you're not even sure where you are. Sorry, Justin.
No. It really does feel like the era, and it does almost warrant just hang out in free roam for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
The movie does try and bounce around like the games, like the later games do, but The balance is incredibly inconsistent. The Animus, while I understand why they did what they did, because if they went with the Animus from the games, I'm just going to say it, people would say Matrix ripoff, and it would be warranted.
I mean, on principle, yeah, but it's a very different thing.
Oh, it's an entirely different thing, but it would still be considered Matrix ripoff.
I mean, I'll admit it wouldn't be as visually interesting when you're in the real world where he's just kind of sleeping in there and plugged in, but it makes more sense than to have him physically jumping around and damaging the arm.
Yeah.
Dumb, man. It's dumb.
But no, some of the Easter eggs are cool, though I don't think they always work either. The problem is there are plot holes aplenty, and the climax is ridiculous, leading to one of the most heavy-handed sequel baiting attempts I've seen all year.
Sequel baiting.
And if the box office take it's gotten thus far is of any indicator, that's not going to happen.
Never know anymore.
But definitely far from what I was hoping it was going to be.
Were you so up on it, though, because of Fassbender?
No, actually.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't detract from it in terms of anticipation, but no, I was not up on it because of Fassbender.
Why? Then why? Why did you think this one would break the mold of terrible video game movies?
Well, like I said, the source material is really good. There are really good, compelling twists and turns within the games.
Yeah, I mean, the story in the games are good. A lot of
the
things.
same could be said for, like a Hitman or...
A little bit.
Right?
Sometimes.
Some of these other ones.
I mean, there are good stories in some of these games. I mean, that's why I don't really understand the whole argument of you can't make it a good movie when literally on YouTube, people will take the cutscenes from all these games and they're compelling movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that. That argument a lot of times doesn't make sense. Oh man, we can't do this. You just take the cutscenes and you can have a couple Easter eggs that move is A and B. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not.
So what's the disconnect? It gets too many hands in the pot.
I really don't. Justin,
I think it's more or less.
I don't know.
They wanted to distance themselves from the central narrative, which I can respect because if they went that route, fans would be simply nodding their heads and nerding out, and newcomers would just be...
Well, what's this?
Yeah, pretty much. So So there's that. There's also the fact that the script, simply put, was not ready.
Well, okay. You know what I think it is? I think people just don't think they have to try because it's an established franchise like that people are going to play anyway.
I think there's that too.
Because
they clearly wanted to coast on brand association.
Exactly. I think that's the problem a lot of times because a lot of these games do have compelling stories. That's part of the reason why people play them, especially these days. They rival movies in some respects, like some of these recent games. It's true for their narratives. So I think literally this movie, quite frankly, just didn't have a very good script.
Okay.
It didn't have a good script. It didn't have good direction. But it's weird because they actually put good talent in it, though.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I don't get it, honestly. I just don't think it's that hard to make a decent video game movie.
Well, we haven't had one yet, so.
Here's open someday. But...
Yeah, there are some that are okay, but they're more like guilty pleasure.
Yes.
I was going to say, I don't think Lara Croft can count.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Lara Croft, I mean...
People thought that was all right.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's
arguably the least bad.
I mean, there are people that genuinely like it. It's not
definitely
great.
Guilty pleasure, but...
Yeah, it's not great, but I mean, Angelina Jolie, fighting robots and swinging around, could be worse.
It's not a bad concept.
No.
All right, well, I feel like I'm probably on the high end of this. I give Assassin's Creed a C.
C-.
Oh, all right.
D+.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be an F.
I thought it was gonna be a D.
Well, there are good actors in it, and I liked the soundtrack.
He did like this. It did have a pretty good soundtrack.
The soundtrack was pretty rocking. That little drum thing at the end was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for the show. We've got more Oscar movies to look at. You've got Lion, Jackie, Hidden Figures. There's quite a few coming up. Live by Night. So each week here in the next few weeks we'll be tackling one or two of those. And then really winding down the show coming up at the end of February when Oscar season hits. We're going to kind of wind things down slowly. And then we'll do the Oscar wrap-up kind of as our last show. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you back here next time.